I am no longer a member of Congress. I left after the 2002 cycle. I said I was going to serve for 6 years. I served for 8 years. And let me give all of you as candidates, and especially those of you seeking federal offices, Washington is a very intoxicating place. And I wish I could say to you this morning that the cheer of the crowd in Washington not just affects Democrats and friends, it impacts Republicans as well. And I have seen Washington, I saw Washington in 8 years. I saw people coming to Washington thinking that it was a cesspool, and after being there for 2 months thinking that it was a jacuzzi. And I have been in several different arenas. I've been in big-time athletics, played professional football. I have been in the ministry, still get a chance to preach 10 or 12 times a year somewhere around the country, and probably half of that is here in the state of Florida, half of those engagements are here in the state of Florida. I've been in business. I've been in many arenas. And friends, regardless of what arena you're in, the cheer of the crowd can be so seductive. And once the cheer of the crowd has seduced us, we eventually get to the point that we start to read our press clippings, we start to listen to the cheer of the crowd, and inevitably we will get to the point that we grade our own test. And God help us when we start grading our own test, because you know what happens? When you grade your own test, you always make a good grade. Well, I think to answer that, you have to look at 1994 and I ran. I kind of declared the final straw before I got elected when I said that I would only run for 3 terms, and I ended up running for 4 actually. And so I actually just, kept my word and said it was time to go home. And another reason I did that, I talked to Sonny Bowman. Sonny was in our freshman, in that freshman class in '94 that helped become a majority. And Sonny had come out of that Hollywood set and the movie culture. And I had been a quarterback at a major Division I school that we were top 10 team every year I was there, and the winningest team in college football in the decade of the 70s in Division I and all that stuff. And so I had heard the cheer. I give myself just a little bit of credit of understanding, not understanding, but better understanding than most what the cheer of the crowd can do to good people. I think we're all vulnerable to that, and I think especially as elected officials, you can call a press conference, the press really will show up. You get on TV, and again, I just think it's easy to start to think that you're all of that. And as my grandmother used to say, boy, you might be some of that, but you ain't have all of that. But again, I just, the cheer of the crowd, I see it. Why do we see reality TV shows? Why would people go on and tell that stuff about their personal life? Why would you go on Oprah, or go on Dr. Phil, or Dr. Oz? And I know who Dr. Oz is. I've never seen the show. I've seen some of Dr. Phil. Usually when I'm watching TV, I'm on CNN, Fox, MSNBC, literally 2 or 3 minutes to see what everybody's saying. And God is my witness, I'll end up either on ESPN or TV Land. And that's kind of where my genre is. I understand those 2 genres, TV Land and ESPN, but why do people go on and spew all the personal life? It's the cheer of the crowd. It's for that 15 minutes of fame. And you think, why would they do that? Why would they do that? Again, it can be extremely intoxicating, and I think the longer you do it, I have gone back and forth on term limits. In the last 5 or 6 years, I am an adamant supporter of term limits. And I recognize you get the good with the bad if you adopt term limits. But I say let's start down that track and protect all of us as elected officials from ourselves, because it's just, the cheer of the crowd is just too intoxicating. And I think, if a president only serves for 8 years, I don't know what the number is. I would say 2 terms for senators and 3 4-year terms for House members. But I do believe the term limits, I think that would save us a lot of grief. It would take a lot of money out of the process if we go to a 4-year term in the House as opposed to 2 years, because members literally legislate for a year and they raise money for a year to get elected and get reelected. And you get to the point that you start making decisions based on what's good for your self-interest in the election, as opposed to what's good for the country. America's money ain't voice. And as we try and be that voice for the American people, when we think about what that voice is to be, I just want to encourage you to think about that World War II generation. That World War II generation gave us the safest, the healthiest, the freest, most prosperous nation in America, and in the world, and we have literally squandered. We've literally squandered the last 35, 40 years. And we have adopted an ideology in America that I call graceful decay. To where we're decaying, but as long as we're doing it gracefully, that's the important thing. Graceful decay. And if you want to know what graceful decay, where you end up in terms of adopting the ideology of graceful decay, let me encourage you to look to what the European elite have done in Europe. And I say the liberal elite in Europe because you got many Europeans that agree with us. But the liberal elite, they have adopted a graceful decay in Europe that we are turbocharging our efforts to get to the goal line to say, we've done it. We've adopted ideology of graceful decay.